Hello and welcome. Thank you for accepting our invitation. I'm Ted Bushman, Gamemaster of the Contraband on Ghostlight RPGs, where 6 Shakespeare actors play blades in the dark. Our new season begins on Twitch on February 7th, 2022. In this new story, Duskfall's canals will freeze over and a lucrative partnership with the collective is bringing coin to our smuggler crew. But their new friends have a sickening secret. Tonight we are streaming the third of 3 never-before-seen episodes of our Season 0, before the character who calls herself the girl joined the crew. Content warning: The Contraband is a crime drama unafraid to explore the frightening and despicable sides of human nature. These episodes in particular can contain strong language, harsh violence, and prejudice, and in engaging with a challenging backstory, harm and sexual abuse of children is discussed. So, light your candle, open the archival manuscript, and descend with us into the Contraband. The episode that follows was not fully recorded and thus starts in the middle of the scene. During the previous episode, the crew assaulted the Orca's Tooth, a steel harpoon ship owned by the rival gang of the Foghounds. Their battle was successful but bloody. Their ally Isioke was killed during the fighting. After the battle was finished and Billy Hook, leader of the Foghounds, was found dead, the crew argued about their purpose and their future, and Bram finally opened up about his dark past. As this episode began, the crew was licking their wounds after a brutal fight. As rain fell on Duskfall, each member of the crew heard a soft knocking at their door and found themselves visited by a small, bespectacled woman with a black parasol. She identified herself as Wilhelmina Grackle, a physician, and said she was paid a princely sum to tend the wounds of the crew. Most took advantage of her services and assumed that Hix had arranged for her to come. We begin with a conversation between Aldo and Varric.
In this, however you choose.
I appreciate that. I don't really know. I mean, the next. I suppose Hix said something that I don't know, made me think. I'm digging into a man's past, and I mean, he is right. It's not like we all have our own, and there is definitely. I suppose an explanation might be in order why I'm so interested, but I don't want to push Bram any further. But I don't know. Perhaps I can just get them all birds. I don't know what I'm saying.
I mean, well, don't be too hasty about getting birds. I think it's quite special having the only one. If you want to go into why it's so important to you, of course, feel free. But I should tell you, yes, obviously we all have our pasts, and it's important what happened to us and why we're here. But we're also here to build our futures, aren't we? And that's what I like to focus on. Whatever may have happened,
Yes,
led us to this place. But we're moving on up.
Do you think this is about our futures? Yes, and I don't want to pry, but what is this for you?
I've never really this might be hard to believe, but I've never really done anything with my life up until this point. And I've had my issues with my family, and there's still some sore spots as to how I've been treated, but I can't deny that there may have been some validity to opinions that I was somewhat spoiled and sheltered and riding my family's coattails. And I want to make something of myself. And I want to do it without invoking my family's name. And what I've learned so far being away from home is that whatever you can find in this city, you grab onto it and you don't let go, and you claw every inch that you can. And that's what we're doing. So I don't care where we're going with this, so long as we continue to move up. Always rising, my friend.
Aldo just sort of nods. Thank you. He eats bits of cheese and bread. And he's a good bird.
Does he have a name?
Yes, he does have a name. His name is Merrick.
Merrick.
Mm-hmm. I think it was a beautiful name, Varric and Merrick. It's
yes, we should be quite the pair.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
And I will. I'm just gonna start helping him take some of this driftwood off. He's not going to work. Let's do it right.
Love it. You also find that Merrick, the not pigeon, has in the process of being recolored, learned a few tricks. He's actually rather obedient and will hop from shoulder to shoulder, and even in his cries has learned to somewhat imitate the Taikarosi birds that he is imitating in his entire existence.
Wow.
So he's a
very special bird.
He just came like that. I don't know.
Aldo, how have you managed to know how to do so much? You're remarkably knowledgeable.
Curious, I suppose. My time with the military obviously provided many opportunities to learn. That's what I learned. Everything I know about fixing people.
Did you
about bombs and a little bit about this and that, whatever is needed?
You know, I've never really asked you about your time in the military before. I imagine it was traumatic.
It's time spent doing someone else's work. It didn't. I mean, it's nothing really.
It isn't right for a man to feel that he's not in charge of his own destiny by any means. And that's also what we're doing here. We're seizing the future. Four of us.
Yes. You're right. It is the four of us. I want you to know. I will help you make something of yourself, or I will keep you from dying before you can do it, if I can.
I would greatly appreciate that. Yes, and I want you to know that I will be with you to make sure we don't lose our souls doing this.
You have many good things to say.
Right. Yeah. Is there? Yeah. What else are people up to? So, what are some downtime actions that folks are up to? And do you guys discuss the advent of this strange doctor lady at some point? You don't have to. I'm just curious. I guess we don't know when everyone meets up.
Right.
That's part of the question.
I was gonna say if
So,
we all
we'll
meet
see.
up at a certain point, but
Sure. Yeah.
Before that time comes,
Yeah.
I'm going to take a stroll
Love it. Yeah.
back to Char Hollow.
Okay.
And very late at night, Bram probably starts around sunset and just walks and walks, blocks and blocks. Probably, I haven't looked at the map, but probably crosses some bridges and eventually finds himself wandering through his old neighborhood where he lived, not in his childhood, but more recently, just before the thing happened, and makes his way to the schoolhouse, which he has not laid eyes on since, and probably like idly scopes it out, satisfying some curiosity, and then realizing this is the reason he came here all along, he tries the doorknob.
All right. Yeah. I've imagined, we can play this however you want. I've imagined that this is probably right across the bridge in Charter Hall, like on like the sort of slummiest portions of Charter Hall.
Great.
Right across. So essentially the children were walking from Char Hollow to this Charter Hall building to have things. There is, the building it was not in great repair when you taught there, but in the intervening years, you see a little bit more age and care that have worn down on it. The ivy's grown a little bit further on the side and kind of invaded a few windows. But yeah, as you try the lock, so this is middle of the night ish, yeah.
Oh yeah, I think by the time I get there, it's like 2 a.m.
Yeah, great. Let's do some sort of gather information to see if the door opens for you or other doors might open for you, like a study or survey or something.
Sure. Sorry, this is me gathering info before I try it, or
sorry, just we're basically seeing a roll to see if you find a way in. Essentially.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. You could also use like wreck to just break the door down or prowl. Yeah.
I think I want to prowl. I don't want anyone to know I'm here.
Yeah, that's great.
It's a 3 though.
Okay. So it's 2 a.m. You this is from a pretty controlled position, so like there's not a huge amount of risk. Like people aren't passing by at this time. So essentially, what happens, I think, is that the front door isn't open. You go to a side door, and you go to a back door, which you were aware of, which is where there were cooks who like actively cooked for the children every day. And you, unlike many of the teachers who looked down on these cooks, actually developed relationships with these people, and they knew your name and you knew theirs. And they sometimes would give you extra pastries that they had cooked. And so you know that doorway, and you also know a key that is hidden under a rock that lets them in the mornings. So you use the key, you get in, and then it just... the only consequence of the 3 is that as you open the door, it has a huge like creak and just this metallic noise as it goes against the floor. This door is just aged and problematic, and so it makes this big noise that echoes like around you a little bit. But there is no response. There's one light you see in a house about 700 feet away, and you doubt that they're caring. So
okay,
nothing bad that you're aware of. So you're able to get inside the kitchens of this school.
Yeah, I kind of walk through the kitchens, dragging my fingertips along the counters, collecting, I don't know if there's dust on it or whatever.
A little bit, yeah.
and then make my way to my classroom and stand at the, whatever you would call it, lectern.
The lectern? Yeah.
And just kind of put both hands on it, look out at the room, probably like exhibiting a little bit of emotion. And then I am going to think back to the vision I had of the dead children.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try to reach out and see, unsure if that was even based on anything real or just a manifestation of my own shame and subconscious.
Yeah.
But
you'll attune.
Try to attune.
Yeah.
It's a 1.
Okay. So
Bram.
you're sitting at the lectern. You're sitting at the lectern, and you hear not actual voices, but memories. You hear, "Well, Mr. Borden, why do we have to learn sums? It doesn't matter if I know what 16 plus 35 is." And you hear another voice saying, "But Mr. Borden, why are we fighting a war in Catalan?" And other different questions from all of these children. And you hear yourself answering some of these questions and explaining to them the imperial impulse that makes the war in Catalan a reality, to these 5th graders, or I don't know what grade we were imagining them, but
Sure.
You try to reach out and connect with the ghost field, which you think might be the connection of this, and anyone can reach for the ghost field. It's a little bit like it's a frightening feeling because there's this moment of free fall and this moment of like reaching towards like a crackling electric source, or putting your hand on a hot stove. Like there's just always a moment of fear before you touch it, and you try to reach out for it and see if you can understand something. And when you do, you feel this chill envelop you, and you realize that there is a ghost 300 feet from you, near this, like kind of in a churchyard, just sort of floating there. And it sort of turns its head, and you can, like, even though you can't see it out the window, you know that it's there and know that it has some vague knowledge that you are nearby. It is not necessarily heading for you, but you just feel like chills run down your body and sweat as this creature has become conscious of you. And
okay. Taken aback by that, I kind of, breathing heavily, stumble back, put my hand, against the wall behind me to brace myself, and then look around one last time, tap a knuckle on the lectern, thinking, and then go out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Looking back over my shoulder at the churchyard all the way home.
Yeah, the ghost sort of, you hear like vaguely in the distance a sort of, you hear a ghostly voice that says, "Molly, is that you?" But that's all the connection that you have before you walk away. Yeah, it doesn't follow you. It's just this sort of lost and confused spirit, lost and confused and deadly. So you're able to make it home. What's going on with Hix? I don't want to force people to do downtime actions because I just want to have a play happen.
I like this festival of short scenes. It's good.
We might need to hack in another type of scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah, seriously.
A dramatic
some
scene
mechanical element.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
even if it's a
true.
minor thing.
Yes, yeah, it's definitely worth the effort. I mean, it's the only way that it sort of fits is through the XP that all of you have just expressed so many drives, and things. But yeah, that is a cool question. Yeah, maybe we do. Anything that Hix is up to, you don't have to have something that anyone else can suggest. But
I want to indulge my vice.
Great.
And I think I was reading about vice purveyors.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently there's a bathhouse in Crowsfoot called Singer.
I knew that, obviously.
So I think I'm gonna go to the bathhouse in Crowsfoot and get a massage
Yeah.
and be in the steam room.
Yeah.
Just have like a spa day.
It's a cool activity, like being in steam rooms. I don't have any first-hand experience doing that. Yeah, you head to the Singer in Crowsfoot. It is one of these buildings that's sort of a vestige of the time when Crowsfoot was a little bit more established and wasn't just this constant gang war location. It's actually even like well maintained enough and close enough to the border of the docks that it doesn't feel so much like the middle of like a turf war. And there are like employees there, some of whom are from Charter Hall and elsewhere. And yeah, they sit you down in these very grimy old baths that are nonetheless very the perfumed and smell good, despite like there's sort of like the undercurrent of sort of mildew and mold in this place. But despite it, they keep it as clean as they can. And it's really pleasant and smells really nice. There are some folks, some older folks who are sitting there, wrinkled and nod at you as they're bathing, whatever. You also hear a couple of the employees whispering, and they say, "I heard the Crows won a major victory against the Lampblacks. There was that," and then one says, "Oh yes, I heard there was that woman with the stone mask. Yeah, she was killed while they were leading a group of these Lampblacks, and because there were some of them with the masks and others without, and they split up because they were terrified by the Crows. I really hope this comes to an end soon." But yeah, you sort of hear that as you're going through. Is there anything else that do you talk to anyone there or seek out conversation?
Are there any gang members in this sauna? Like, is this like, or is it mostly just like me and the elderly, which is like also really cute?
That's pretty delightful. Yeah, I think there's probably a couple Crows who show up here and are like hanging out in the sauna as well, and maybe they're kind of sweaty. They've just been training all day, like working hard, sort of like making sure that they're ready for whatever thing they're up to. So they're just all sitting there sweating and nod at you. Neither of them recognize you. They're not high enough in the Crow hierarchy. But
fine, I'll just ignore them.
Great.
Let me roll.
Roll your indulge vice. Yeah.
Okay, I rolled a 6.
Ooh, awesome. Yeah, so you can adjust that up to an 8, can't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
With your functioning device?
Yes, I can.
Insane.
Wow.
That's so good.
I was totally full and I'm totally clear. This is like narratively what I want to be doing. Like taking it insanely to the edge and then like, okay, but I can deal with this. It's
Yes.
I want to ride this wave for a long time.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's so good. Yeah. So how do you getting rid of 8 stress, how does that communicate itself narratively? Like, what does that look like for Hix?
I think that this is, I think that I'm really getting a lot of that shit out. And so I'm probably kind of I'm pretty stinky probably.
Sure.
As I'm like in here sweating a lot. It's like I'm finally like not nauseous anymore. I've been able to hold food down and drink water for a couple days, and now I just need to go get the last little vestiges of stank out of my body. Totally. And yeah, going to the hot place was the only real way.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah. So you head home, and like the rain is sort of that has been very heavy for a few days is sort of reduced to a drizzle, and there's just a lightness. You feel better. Also your little kids, your employees, I should say, come and find you.
They are independent contractors, employees.
No benefits.
I am not responsible for them. Let's be clear.
Yes. Good point.
Yeah, I'm like the CEO of Uber.
And most of the kids probably would make that distinction to others. They'd be like, "No, I'm an independent contractor."
That's right. They're running a business of their own. That's
they know
the best thing I can teach them.
Yep, they understand it. So you hear a duplicate of that same rumor you heard about the Crow battle that went pretty well. You also, people on the street are talking about something else. They're talking about a new gang, a company. Others call it an organization. They use different terminologies. You hear some people call them canal runners. Someone calls them rough pennies. Then someone calls the eel fuckers.
Indicated.
Someone calls them the three deep using a lewd gesture.
Nice.
Some people say they're dreamers with big plans for the city. Some people say they're brutal with their foes, and they point out the fight at the Angler's Eye and how no one's seen Billy Hook in a few days. But one thing's for sure, people are talking. After months of work, you are not nobodies anymore.
Yay.
Yeah.
Okay, I was just reading a rule that I hadn't seen before, but it's
All right, yeah, please.
if you do not indulge your vice during your downtime action in between scores, you take stress equal to the number of traumas you have.
Oh my gosh! Seriously?
How convenient for me that you found the rule.
Like, I wanted to make sure I said this. Like, I can find the page, but I did read that, and I was like, "Whoa, maybe I have some friends who want this information."
Yes, because it wants to make sure that your characters are constantly in the cycle of vicious cycle of vice and stress.
Oh, Lord.
How's everybody doing there? Okay, so yeah, what else is up downtime wise for everybody?
Well, I guess I'm gonna go fight some people.
You're feeling better after all. I mean, why not? Are you gonna go Mudfire Crown, or are you gonna do what? Okay.
Yes, I think surely there would be a fight scheduled somewhere in that universe.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. It's amazing how well that these schedules work out for for all your characters.
It's my favorite.
Yeah. So is this? I think this is number. So you had the guy at the Stink Bloom. You had the guy. He was a member of the Grinders, and he was very polite. And then you went and did the one at the school, and that wasn't a Mudfire Crown one. So I think you're about to do round 3 of the 7 rounds. So
sounds right.
It's narrowed down from 160 to 80 to 40. Is that how much it was? Anyway, I'm not sure exactly where we are in terms of. You're like almost halfway through the thing. So you've done pretty well. This one, let's say this one is in Brightstone. This one is in Varric's home turf. This is a fancy fighting ring. And it's there's only a couple fights that evening, but basically there are a couple of like punk kids, punk kids being very well-to-do 1%ers who decide they wanted to host this part of the Mudfire Crown because they thought this would be like fucking cool, and so they like host this in this semi-abandoned mansion. It's like the summer home of this family who has another bigger mansion elsewhere, and so you are in like the weird emptied out ballroom of this super rich family. Who else shows up from the squad for the Mudfire Crown fight? Not Aldo.
I'm taking some time off. Appearances. I can't. I need some time.
Yeah. Does Varric join or no? One deep.
No, he doesn't. He'd like to, but he's got something else he wants to do.
Yeah, he's been nervous. Yeah, great. So yeah, you end up heading there. If you invite Decker, he'll come with you, but he won't impose himself on the fight.
Yeah, I'll invite Decker.
Yeah, so Decker comes along with you and is very excited about you. Massaging your shoulders a bit, saying, "You seem like you're feeling back in your spirits, boyo."
Yeah, I feel a little bit better. I'm ready for this. We're gonna kick some shit in someone's.
Yeah, good. That sounds about right then. So he places some serious bets on you for this fight.
As he's rubbing my shoulder, I'm like, just cut it out.
All all right, with his like big old spider, creepy ghost fingers apparently. But he, so he leads you in. There's a bunch of people there. Like it's a really weird mixed group of folks, and you realize partially why the person. Why they hosted here is the fighter is a young woman who's dressed in extremely nice clothing. She's like some Brightstone debutante, but she looks to be about like 25. She's got all this really nice clothing on. She's got a vest on, kind of dressed a little bit, more masculine. Got her hair pulled back. It's pretty short. Actually, yeah, she's probably got it short enough that she doesn't have to pull it back. Sort of blondish hair. And she gets in the ring with you and doesn't really like look at you very much. She's just like, does the I don't know, the gym, like, I don't know if anyone would do this for boxing, but I'm imagining like the gymnastics chalk crap on her hands.
Yeah, it's like resin or something.
You guys head I think it might be that. I don't know. You guys head in and the fight begins. So let's do you want to just roll indulgence and see how it goes on that, or do you want to roll some stuff with fight as well?
He's kind of thrown off by her. He's like not moving around a lot, not pumping himself up. He's just watching her. Kind of like similarly to how he was regarding Mary Poppins. What was her name? Wilhelmina Greco. Just kind of looking at her like, what the fuck? Anyway, but as the fight starts, it's a little bit of a slow start. Yeah, she's kind of gaining ground on me. I'm not being too aggressive.
Yeah.
Should I just roll my indulgence?
Yeah, let's see how it goes.
About partway through the fight, maybe she gets a hit on me.
Sure.
That just hits me in all the wrong ways. And my haunted and reckless trauma just like explode, and suddenly I'm on her like a lion.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, probably for the first few moments of it, like if you guys are ever close enough to talk, she's kind of saying a little bit like, you get the sense from her, she's like, just don't go easy, come at me, let's do this. Yeah, she's very game, and gets a couple good hits on you, but then you really come at her. She takes a couple pretty intense punches. Yeah, let's see how your indulgence goes.
Okay, 6 + 2. I'm overindulging, I think. So wait, overindulging happens when
you don't have any stress to take.
So I didn't have any stress at all, but I want to stop myself from getting stress. Does that mean that I'm going to overindulge?
Basically, yes. Yeah, it means that you're forced to overindulge.
And that happens any time
you clear more stressful levels than you had marked.
This is cool, though.
Yeah.
It's like a catch-22 for when you get trauma, then, because like you're going to get you clear all your stress.
You either take the stress for having done your thing, or you either take it and ignore your vice. Yeah, so like the cost of two. So let me, in case you choose not to do this, the things that can happen with overindulgence are select or roll an additional entanglement. So that'll be like bad things happening. I haven't even shown you what your entanglement is yet from this last one. Brag about your exploits, which you get +2 heat. Or lost, your character vanishes for a few weeks. Play a different character until this one returns from their bender. When your character returns, they've also healed any harm they had, which is actually kind of good. And tapped your current
weeks.
Yeah, I know, weeks. Yeah. Tapped, your current purveyor cuts you off. Find a new source for your vice.
Oh, cool.
So it's like if you like absolutely destroyed somebody and you could get
banned.
I mean, if you kill this woman,
are you gonna kill her?
Disqualified.
You get disqualified for killing your opponent.
I don't want to do that.
Yeah, that's pretty intense. I don't know if you want to do it. That's a dude. I'm sorry. I keep being in situations where you have to punch women.
You can select. I mean, you can select any of these because it could just be that you're bragging about how we fucked the fuck.
I think I'll do the first one. What's the first one?
Select or roll
Another
an
entanglement.
Yeah,
that one's
let me
good.
do that.
Do that one because if you increase our heat, we'll be wanted 2 times.
I know.
Yikes. All right. I'll
just taking the stress, damn it.
This game is so fun.
It's wild.
Oh my god.
What's the current heat, Carson?
We are sitting at 8.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god. Okay.
Okay, so
I need
let
to
me
think
see.
about what to do about
That's
that.
my next activity.
Yeah.
Mine too.
Everybody's like, gotta get us out of this. Yeah, let me see what the entanglement is. I'll handle that. I'll get you something to have happen.
Oh,
I mean,
my
how does
gosh.
this fight end up?
Yeah, did you beat her up?
That's what I
Yeah.
want to know.
What would be the thing that
Yeah, I have
causes
to
an
let
additional
loose,
entanglement?
So if you're okay with me beating her in the fight,
Yeah, you win the fight. Yeah, absolutely.
by the end, I tear like a she's got, what do you call it? Like a what's the flower you put on your lapel? Boutonniere.
A carnation.
Yeah.
Oh.
Carnation.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I like pull the carnation out by the petals, and I stuff them in her mouth.
Oh my!
And just punch, like tenderizing meat, and then, yeah, they're like pulling me off of her because she's lost. This is her house or a friend's house?
This is probably a friend's house. Yeah.
Okay, so when they're pulling me off of her, I start throwing punches at the people pulling me off of her.
Oh my gosh.
He's like, like frothing at the mouth.
Yes.
Just like swinging at everything in sight, and they eventually just like throw me out the back step, and I hit the cobblestone street.
Yeah. And Decker, who has been sort of like, listen, he's had a difficult week, and eventually he
Perhaps
comes
they'll
out of
see reason.
Yeah, he eventually comes out, sits next to you against these like the stone steps, counting his winnings. He says, "You all right there?"
Yeah.
Fuck. Oh, fuck me. Let's go.
Yeah, let's get out of here. Indeed, yeah. Come along with me. All right, so he gets his gets his winning, sort of carries you out of there. You get on a carriage.
As we're getting on the carriage,
You greedy bastard.
I mean, you won.
Yeah.
So, you. All right. Yeah. So, Varric, you said you wanted to do a downtime action.
Oh yes. I would like to. Varric's going to put on his finest outfit.
Yeah.
And he's going to take a cane, and he's going to go and sort of stride up to Carol's abode, and sort of rap on the door and say, wait for him to open it.
Yeah. A servant opens the door, a butler. Yes, Mr. Lomond, it is good to see you. Shall I call for Master Kirill?
Yes, immediately.
Yes, of course, sir. Please come inside. He welcomes you inside to Kirill's beautiful... Are you saying Kirill or...
I've been saying... let's go with Kirill, actually. Yeah.
Kirill, great. So, he lets you into his beautiful mansion. Kirill has his own mansion now, which is some distance from his parents' mansion. He's in the west of Brightstone. It's gorgeous, newly furnished. You actually haven't seen it totally furnished yet. There are some gorgeous oil paintings on the wall that depict his ship, which is basically a representation of his investment in some of the shipping trade. And eventually he comes down the stairs. He's,
As the servant walks away, I say, "Oh, and 2 sugars, please, in my tea when you bring it."
Absolutely, sir. So another servant comes, brings the sugars in your tea. You're all set up. You're only waiting, less than a minute. Kirill comes down the stairs. He's being changed from a work coat into like a recreation coat, which is more colorful, nice. And he says, So sorry to keep you waiting. Varric, how are you? It is wonderful to see you. Comes and gives you a big handshake.
It's been too long.
It certainly has.
We need a night on the town. What is the biggest and most exciting social engagement coming up?
Oh, it is so absolutely good to hear from you and to hear of this, because I have been so hard at work, and I'm sure you have been so hard at work. You are absolutely right. Both of us deserve a night to ourselves. There is, if I recall correctly, at the manse of the family Blueford, there is a party happening, a soiree. It's right on the riverfront mansion. There will be people, there will be wine, there will be friendships to be had. You should absolutely join me if that suits your interests.
That 100% suits my interests.
Oh, wonderful. So unless there's anything you do in the meantime, we can whisk you away to the party, or if there's more discussion to be had. Great.
Yeah, that's good, of course.
Yeah, so you end up at the Blueford Mansion on the north end of Brightstone. This is a massive house. It's got like basically 4 or 5 what appear, houses within its, the grounds. The grounds are beautifully made up, and there's like electric lights that illuminate the garden and all of these like topiaries that have been carved. And there's like a little dock, a little pier that's private to this, which has several blue coat patrols that are protecting it in case other people might show up. But Kirill sits with you. He eventually brings back, well, no, of course he doesn't bring back. A servant brings back some wine for the two of you, and he says, all right, Varric, level with me. Tell me what you've been working on. I have been racking my brain, trying to figure out what new ambitious scheme you have.
Sidebar. Varric, I've brought Merrick along with me.
Yes,
And
wonderful.
I'm going to hold up a little bit of cheese. Say, well, as you might be able to tell from my new friends, I've been out of the city.
Oh, it is quite a beautiful bird. Will he come to me?
I'd be careful. He's quite vicious, but let's see if he's willing. And
let me roll a fortune roll to see how this goes.
No,
he's a pigeon.
I mean, he's not going to hurt him. No, he's not going to hurt him. I just want to see if he obeys. Yeah, that's fine. Great. So Merrick, who has really moved up in life, and this cheese is great, hops over onto Kirill's hand, sort of like inquiringly, like looking up in his face, like, "Hey, you got something for me?" And Kirill, says, "Oh, absolutely wonderful." And he holds up a little bit of cheese for the thing, yeah.
Yes, I have been to Tykeros, finding new business ventures and acquiring assets, such as my friend Merrick.
Yes, that is fantastic. What do you think of the Demon Lands? What do you think of the port cities? What do you think of the mountains?
They're wildly dangerous. I was savaged by ghosts in Tykeros, and Varric's going to pull up his sleeve and reveal the ghost burn, and say, there were 6 of them around me. And I had to fend them off with a Spirit Bane charm.
My goodness, that is incredible. May I see it? That is... You are a true warrior. Goodness gracious. Wow, that's truly impressive.
Leaving home was genuinely the best thing that's ever happened to me. I don't know if you've heard of a certain element that's been making waves. They're involved in a rather violent altercation. This scummy dive bar on the water, the Angler's Eye.
Oh yes, I heard about some gang violence that happened there recently. Yes.
Yes,
were some of your assets damaged by the brutes?
Well, as a matter of fact, I own a substantial stake in the brutes who were doing some of the damaging. They've been expanding rather aggressively, and you might want to spread the word that if anyone needs to acquire anything, Varric can help them get it.
Huh. This is more ambitious than I even anticipated from you, Varric. I am quite impressed. I shall certainly let anyone know. There are many things that are desired which are difficult to get hands on, so certainly there are some people who I could connect you with.
And I know ways in and out of the city that others couldn't dream of.
Well, you have certainly convinced me. This bird is what a delight. And you see some people passing by with these, like, about 2 times the size of that bird, like just these gorgeous, enormous things, which sort of look at Merrick and with these strange expressions. But he is
Bird
image
expressions.
of politeness. Yeah, bird expressions. Freaking, oh man, they're so into that.
They're very
They do such
emotive
things with
birds.
their
and
faces.
that's part of it.
Yeah, you know how the things they do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've seen it. I know
Yeah.
birds.
You know what birds are? They're sweet. Pretty cool. Yeah, wonderful. What else does Varric do? Anything else during the party, or talk to other people, or?
He kind of he goes around and tells variations of the same story. I don't think he actually got injured in the leg, but he's been walking with a bit of a limp in the pain, and like playing up the story of how he got attacked in Tycheros.
Yeah, and you at one point, Kirill is he's coming with you and sort of compounding this story a little bit, and he says there's this group of older gentlemen, and one of them, seeing the burn, says, "Oh, you simply must come hunting with us in the Deathlands sometime. I myself," and he reveals a little bit of a wound on his neck, like this pulsating scar of like this rather intense looking ghost, and says, "This was a result of my youthful foolishness some 10 years ago, but yeah, it is good to see another brave soul."
Yeah, Varric kind of goes pale, and is like, "Nothing would please me more." Of course.
The gentleman calls one of his servants and says, "Set a date in the calendar. 3 weeks from today, we'll meet with Mr. Lomond."
Cool. The Deathlands. Check it out.
Forward to it.
Amazing.
Yeah,
so I assume
all.
this is vice indulging as well as gathering information kind of thing.
Yeah, this is meant to be kind of a luxury.
Love it. That's great. Yeah, so let's make that roll, and let's also make a consort roll to see, just because like future help that Kirill might give you could be sort of dependent on like benefited by a consort roll, just so we can see how convinced he is of your legitimacy. 4. Great. 4 for Kirill. So yeah, that's a partial success. So that's pretty good.
Yeah.
So he'll come back to you with some options, probably around around session 0 of our next thing.
All right, excellent.
So yeah, and then do for the indulgence as well.
The indulgence, not so good. 1.
Oh no!
Like you said, like you were working.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
I
yeah,
got
we're-
into it.
Yeah, it was a bit
Like
stressful.
it felt good to like do your thing, but ultimately stressful.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Yeah. What else is happening either for Varric or other people? What's the plans?
I want to. I can also wait though, because I just did a thing.
Let me really quickly throw in your entanglement. A few days later.
Just in here real quick.
Yeah, a few days later, outside the Queen's Magnolia, you hear rumors of a ghost, and when whoever of you arrives on the scene, along your choice, all of the girls in the Queen's Magnolia are looking out the east-facing windows, shrieking and and all gibbering to themselves about ghosts as they look down at this form that is going back and forth across the entrance of the Queen's Magnolia. Who shows up? Yeah.
As I step in, I'll just come up behind them and say,
Quiet, ladies, quiet. What is it?
Let's do a command to see how quiet they become.
Okay.
You're not trying to be mean, but still can follow command.
when I command a frightened target, I get a
Yes!
Get an extra 1D.
Here we go, man. There we go.
First time I've used this.
In the game, I know.
Okay, that's a 5.
Okay, great. Yeah, the girls. Yes. Sorry. We're very sorry, Mr. Borden.
Don't be sorry, it's alright, just calm down.
And one of them says, My mother was there was a ghost. It trapped her in a house for 2 days. And the other ones are trying to calm her down, and they're sort of quieting down a little bit.
That was the complication, is she had to hear about her mom.
Things got really bad there. They got desperate.
Like, successful, but...
but this lady's still talking. Much to everyone's chagrin.
So yeah, Bram kind of like leans up against the, I imagine it's that like really frosted glass that's hard to see through, greasy maybe, and
absolutely.
Look down at the doorway to get an eye on the ghost. What he's afraid of as he steps forward is that this is the ghost that he saw in the churchyard.
This ghost is worse. This is Isioke.
Okay.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
She is floating back and forth, sometimes looking into the entrance, but sometimes just looking around, and her eyes are just this bright, impossibly bright blue, staring around at everything as she sort of floats confusedly, and sometimes looks at herself in confusion as if she doesn't know what she's become.
This is at the front. This is in the out front.
It's the back. So there's a street entrance to the Queen's Magnolia, which is the west entrance, or I guess probably north. I always get this confused because the maps are sometimes weird. But anyway, there's an ocean-facing entrance. This is the ocean-facing one, and it just looks out on essentially the ocean and a bunch of shacks at some distance. So this is the way that the rough penny will come when you usually come into the canal.
So if I'm in the workshop, I determined I was in the workshop.
You can
die roll, but
you would hear the noises upstairs, and then if you stepped out of the workshop and looked left, you would see her.
Whenever anyone arrives, Bram is still just at the window. I'm just gonna watch her for as long as she's there.
Yeah, right.
I think I'd step out to kind of look down the.
I motion at you. Beckon you.
Okay. I will go up to.
Yeah, so you're up on the actual inside the Queen's Magnolia, looking at the windows. She is continuing to look around and eventually seems to perceive something. And eventually she looks up at the window and sort of looks uncertainly, and all of you feel that same chill. I mean, there's this pure involuntary reaction the moment anyone sees a ghost.
Yeah.
She looks. No, good.
I just said shit. That's all.
She says, "Where is my brother?" Where is my brother?
I'm gonna run downstairs to my workshop. However long this takes.
Yeah, great.
I'm working on a project down there.
yeah, great. Cool.
And I just I want to gather something to do.
Yeah, sure. That's great. Okay, yeah, sure.
If you want to reduce project ticks on my clock for cannibalizing my project.
Oh, interesting. Okay, sure, that's cool. Well, let's see how the roll goes on the project.
Okay.
This is you've been doing this for the last few days.
Sure. I have two in the project.
Okay.
From analyst, and then.
Yeah.
You want me to roll the downtime roll first?
Yeah. Let's roll the downtime roll just to see how you do on
it. 6.
Okay. Yeah. So that would be normally 3.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's give you 2 instead, and it depends on what you're doing for this. What are you imagining to have discovered to help with this?
Well, I'm working on something. With
somewhat related.
Sparkcraft. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah. I decided I'm working along. It may not be that same exact thing, but it's
Sure.
Sparkcraft stuff.
Okay.
Electricity things.
Yeah. So let's say you're working in the shop a little bit. Varric, are you there? I feel like I saw you starting to say you might be there.
Yeah. I feel like Varric sort of stumbles in after going to this get together, kind of kicking himself. Like, why'd you have to brag about fighting ghosts? Now you have to go somewhere with ghosts, and you.
Yep. Yeah. So
you did this.
Step down the stairs, and as you sort of shout, her face turns towards yours, and she goes, "You." The boat my brother, and she floats towards you through.
Are
the
they
air.
outside?
The ghost is outside. He's down in the basement. You're on the first floor. You could run down the stairs and be there.
I'll try to get there. Not, I don't want to cut in on anything, but I think Bram would want to be there to support.
Yeah. As he's walking that way, is there anything that Varric does? Anything says to him?
Varric is going to say, "Your brother's alive. He survived. He made it off the boat."
Where is he? Where is my brother?
If I can interject for a moment.
Sure.
I mean, I'm not talking to her.
Yeah.
I want to yell at Varric, and the hope is that what I'm working on it's a stupid project, but it's good, very good. Anyway, but there's I want to essentially throw him the open end of a the classical stick the bad guy with the electric the broken power line type.
Sure.
Of
Yeah, the open sparkling end of this thing.
Which it is not sparkling yet, but I ripped this thing apart of my little experiment, and I'm like, Varric, catch this.
Yeah. So
Bram is an end of it.
Yeah, Bram is running down the stairs. The cable comes towards you, and Jamie, by more luck than skill, the cable lands in your hand. The ghost sort of pauses, seeing the two of you, and then looking. And Aldo, you cannot see her, but you can feel her seeing you.
Oh golly!
What do you want here? You don't belong here. This is no place for you.
And do you know where Ajani is? Can I speak to him?
I haven't seen your brother. Not since that night. Now you get the fuck out of here.
What's wrong with me? I'm sick, I think.
You're not sick. You're dead.
No. And
so now I'm watching for a cue, or immediately I'm ready to fire up this thing.
She like in her anguish, like swipes. It doesn't hit any of you, but it's like energy scratches into the stones above you in the Queen's Magnolia, and dust crumbles down into the mud. She is just still in anguish, not going towards anybody, but sitting there just tortured.
I think we should send her away.
Let's make a roll on that. You're trying to command Bram, or is there a roll you'd like to make to try?
Yeah,
and
command.
Great, yeah. Four. Okay. So she hears you and is clearly frightened to some degree, and sort of swings around, and as she does, this flare of ghost-like energy, not ghost light energy, flies
TM.
TM, flies backwards towards sort of towards you and the mud in the boat. I'm trying to think what exactly the complication is, because I could just I could do harm, but I feel like there's a more interesting one. She starts to cry out loudly, is what she does. She's making more and more noise. You're feeling that she might draw others here. So she's sort of like maybe heading toward, as if she's going out, but she's still distraught. She's feeling somewhat frightened of you, maybe it seems, but
yeah.
Okay.
I'm just shouting.
Get out of here. Leave this place.
I'm gonna fire it up. It doesn't have much charge to it, but it'll be enough. And as I kick this thing into gear, I'm like, Varric, I'm very sorry.
Roll a tinker on it.
It's gonna hurt a little bit. So, not harm, please. But.
Sure. Yeah. All right, roll the tinker. That's Carson rolling the tinker.
Oh, I'm sorry.
On the device.
You said I should roll the tinker?
Indeed.
Okay, it's a 2.
Okay.
It's an experiment.
I know. I was hoping he was ready.
Yeah, I mean, who gets it right on the first try? It's a
I'm
field
picturing-
test.
I'm picturing Tim from Jurassic Park, like when he's holding on to the electric fence, just like
Yeah. So she's like wailing and angry, and this electric charge pours like like the end of a hose out of this tubing. It strikes her, and she turns and like flames with this ectoplasmic energy. She rushes forward, puts her hand around Varric's throat, and says, "Bring me my brother."
Bram steps forward aggressively and slings his fist, imbuing it with spiritual energy just instinctively, and punches her across the ghost.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What?
It's a 5.
Okay, yes.
Yes.
She is struck, and you hear this wail, and you all see that this blue spectral energy has imbued Bram's hand for a moment, making it just pure white. And he
Leave
strikes
this place!
and she cries out, let's oh man, yeah. So she I'm sorry, Jamie, you get another level 1 harm.
It's all right.
So you can resist.
It's the price of doing business.
Is there a way I can?
You can resist for
I
the
can
one
take it
stress.
for him.
Sure. Yeah, I think there might
Like
be some
as
mechanics
she's
for it.
going out by the throat, I step in.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
great.
to steal your thunder, Jamie, but if it's
Yeah, yeah.
helpful.
I think that's
Jamie's like,
oh, not taking harm? Great.
No, I'll say I've got 2 level 1 harm, so it would be a level 2 harm, but I'm also
Yeah.
very stressed.
Yeah.
Very stressed,
If
yeah.
it takes like some stress or something, I can step in.
Yeah, I think let's give you 1 stress for the thing. 1 stress plus the harm, unless you choose to resist it. So your call.
No, I'll take it.
Yeah, great. So instead of going, so she's choking on it, but you strike her. She sort of strikes back at you, not as much in deliberate attack, but as in terror, and she then turns and flees into the like mid morning, and you see her bluish reflection across the water. She disappears, wailing.
Okay. And Bram's just kind of doubled over, clutching. Is it my throat or what's
Yeah, let's say it's on the side of your throat. It's not going to harm your speech necessarily. But.
Okay, just doubled over, kind of panting.
Bram, are you alright? Are you alright?
I'm alright.
You jumped in front of her. You saved me.
No, we don't make a big thing out of it.
Alright. Well, thank you.
The hose is still spitting sparks into the mud.
It's probably to be honest, it's probably pretty close to being finished of that.
Yeah. Yep. Right. Yeah, it sort of fades as it goes down.
Very awake all of a sudden.
The women who are sort of standing in the doorway, shocked, and like one of them has fainted and the others have caught her, and one of them says, "What happened to his hand?"
Bram looks at it, spits on the ground, and then walks inside.
Nice. Yeah. It's probably like faded a little bit at this point. Probably, taking off its spectral. I mean, however you want to flavor that, actually, your call. If his hand stays spectral for a while, or if he can just like. It's just
I imagine
sheathed
like
for a
his
moment.
hand, rather than like glowing, it just looks like a ghost for a moment.
Cool. Yeah.
Like
Becomes
where
sort of
the ghost
translucent.
bruise used to be.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. That's sweet. Yeah. I dig it. Awesome. Varric, earlier you talked with Aldo a bit about his military service. What you all would know about the war in Catalan generally is that Catalan did not develop lightning arc technology, lightning wall technology as quickly as Duskfall did. And so they were absolutely ravaged by ghosts during the early centuries after the breaking. And Duskfall eventually, having developed this stuff, moves in offering to help by creating these things, but in doing so, essentially establishing a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more power in Catalan. Eventually, the Queen of Catalan is at this point where she has to decide whether or not to cede and basically let Akaros own Catalan entirely. And she is sort of caught in this middle point where, like, if she withdraws support, the walls will die. The walls will be turned off, and her people will be subject to these ghosts. So it's kind of this impossible situation. But there is a group of rebels, an unaffiliated third party, or so we say, who operates trying to strike against Akarosi power, taking the lightning walls, and trying to essentially have a rebellion against a power that isn't technically in charge yet. So the rebels, however, have very intense military strategies, very scorched earth, and so they get a lot of bad PR because of the intensity of their efforts, to the point where the queen never takes an official side, thinking that she might support the rebels if they happen to win. But many people, especially in the major cities of Catalan, have been so sort of Akarosi-ized by this point that many of them are conscripted to join the Akarosi military and fight back against the rebels. And you generally would assume that is how Aldo joined the Akarosi military, that he was conscripted and then given citizenship rights, including a passport to Duskfall, which allowed him to then come here eventually. So that's just a little bit of background about the war in Catalan that you might be aware of.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I feel like that says a lot about Aldo.
Yeah.
Wow.
Also,
Yikes.
Bram would probably be aware, and I'll just let everyone know this. You would probably be aware that people who conscripted likely got benefits for family members of different kinds. So I won't go too much into detail there.
When you say, I don't know what that means. So
Basically,
they got benefits for family members, like the same benefits.
Maybe not passport level, but that basically
they were like taken care of.
If you were conscripted, things might be better for your family. In some different ways. You honestly don't know the specifics of how that worked. Maybe if you knew a guy who had been conscripted, he might tell you a little bit more about it.
Dude, he's not talking about.
You're trying to seed curiosity about other people in Bram because.
Also, sorry if that's stepping on any of your creative toes, Aldo. I just want them to have some framework in which to know a little bit about your world.
Come at me. Come find out, huh? I'm just kidding.
No, it's great.
Cool. So I hope that was, I don't think I shared anything personal.
History. Yeah, no.
Yeah, it's just history.
Yeah, exactly.
Seems like knowledge to those who would know.
Yeah, exactly. Just getting a sense of the world, the slow acquisition and understanding. So, you have just had this encounter with Isioke's ghost, which is now fled away. So the next few days sort of continue to pass. In terms of, you get the sense, I'll just sort of throw this out there in terms of like getting what we need in the next hour. The crows are ready to do this shipment. And I think for the sake of sort of bringing this season to a close and having had our climax, I imagine I think I will run this score in a more condensed way. So we don't have to have the rest of the time devoted to it. Also because you've made it far easier than it would have been because the fog guns are no longer in the picture. Also, you get the sense, Bram, that Decker, the resident mom of the crew, or mom number 2 after Aldo, I guess, is sort of hinting at the idea of like, oh, I feel like you boys really should have, I don't know, some sort of dinner sometime. Talk things through, get a sense of, what you're up to.
He's saying that to me, like I'm gonna listen to him.
He's like, throw a party for and invite your buddies.
Yeah, have a play date. Yeah, he probably says it to anyone who he can run into. Probably Aldo and Hix as well. When
Decker, if you want to have dinner with us, you just need to ask.
That's sort of what I say. I'm just like, okay, well, invite us over if you're so. If that's what you want, Decker, then take responsibility and put it in your calendar and get your place together and have me over.
All right, what does Aldo say in response to Decker?
He will have found Aldo working on several projects back at the. He will have noted that it is a lot less muddy. There is a lot less There's a lot of
It's been cleaned up.
driftwood to step onto instead of the mud. It's looking pretty clean in there. There are like cables on the wall and things that are not doing anything yet, but there's projects going on. And I guess Aldo would say, it's funny you should mention that. I was thinking the same thing.
Oh, really? Well, I wouldn't want to intrude on the party planning, of course. You know, you do your thing. Maybe we have two separate parties. I don't know.
Are you throwing a party?
People seem to think that I should be the one to do it. I don't know. But if you want to do it, you should do it. I mean, I'd say we could host it at my place. We could do it at the Red Deer. I know they have a private room back there. Where else could we do it?
Perhaps not best to go somewhere public is my feeling, but
that seems reasonable. Yes.
Whatever.
I'd have to borrow a chair. I probably have a neighbor who could give me one. I've got enough for 4 of us at least. Anyway.
Yes. Well, I think it's a good idea.
So you have the sense of this potential thing coming up. Score with the crows. Also, whoever is interested, probably at some point in the next few weeks, gets invited by Arisha and the maimed Leviathan hunters to come take a look at the Orca's tooth. Probably early one morning, like when the sun is just starting to come up, they like pull the canvas all off of it, and take you on a tour of all the damage that's been done, and sort of talk you through some of the early stuff. And she says, I think over the next few months, I think we can get it in ship shape and teach all of you how to pilot it. So, unless there's any interaction.
Very much. Yes, I'd like that very much. Is there any chance, Rishi, you're very competent around repairing this ship. You're doing a wonderful job.
Oh, thanks.
Could you, we're storing it in 6 Towers.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
I imagine I brought the rough penny,
Sure.
I arrived on the rough penny, I can't point,
with
over,
6 inches of water in it.
Yeah, like obviously the priority is the Orca's tooth, but if you and any of your people could just take a look at the old girl, give her a once over, perhaps.
Ormus, the one with the arm, looks at you and goes, "Fuck off." Staggers over, but he just like walks back into the ship. So you hear him hammering very loudly through much of the rest of the conversation. Let's consort with Arisha though. She's looking at you, still interested.
That's a 3.
Oh my gosh. She says, we can surely get to it at some point. But I mean, we've got the 2 lifeboats inside the tooth. I mean, is there something particularly special about this guy?
It has some sentimental value. It's all right. I'll deal with it on my own. Thank you.
She says, I'll come take a look at it when I can. I don't think I can get these ones to jump on the repair with me. But she salutes you and you head on your way.
Bye, Thomas. Bye. say goodbye to him for me.
Okay, I want to try to find Isioke's ghost.
Oh,
Yeah.
you monster.
Absolutely.
So
yeah,
I just assume I hear about this and I'm like, oh shit, this is
Yeah.
my fault.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean, she got killed. I don't have nothing to do with her getting killed.
Yes. Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Sure.
Sure. If that's how you want to perceive it, yeah.
I'm sure that's exactly how she sees it.
I mean, we're all to blame for that.
Yeah.
So, what are you trying to do? You've heard the rumor. There are the girls who saw the ghost. What are you doing to try and find her?
Well, I think I'll go find her brother.
Yeah.
First off.
Yeah. There's no trouble finding Ajani. Yeah. He's at his apartment, and he when
I'm just like, how are you doing? Are you okay?
Do you need something?
Yes. The ghost of your sister has been seen, and she has asked for you. So I think that she was spotted in Silk Shore. I think that I can help you track her down if you want to. I think it might give her what she needs in order to rest.
He starts pulling on his boots and stands up and says, "Let's go."
Great. I'd like to hunt her down.
Yeah, do it.
Six.
Great. Yeah, you have little trouble. There's been, enough of the rumors. You're able to sort of triangulate her. She's out. There's this long sandbar that stretches towards the bay. You can actually, from this point, see the electric wall that the Orca's tooth nearly ran into the other night. There's a couple shacks that are half sunk into the mud, and the tide usually covers up this area. The tide is low enough now that you can walk out among them, and the ghost is inside this spindly wooden shack. As you get close, Ajani's skin, like you see all the bumps rising on his skin, and he says, "I think that's her." And you hear a call from inside. You feel the same prickling on your own skin, the same sweatiness, and she says, "Brother," and he says, "It's okay, it's me." He walks up to the cabin without you, and she flows forth through the slats and floats in the air above him and says, and you hear little fragments of them talking. She tells him that she thinks there's something wrong with him and that someone told her she was dead and she's not dead. And she tells him that he needs to explain to them that she's not dead. And they talk for some time, and he, is honest with her about all this. And there's a point where he tries to hold her hand, and you see, he holds onto it for a moment, and then there's he pulls away, and you see like little, the bluish mark, not like the full burn, but just like as if you put your hand on something hot for a moment. After some time of this conversation, just out in the fog, there's actually this point where the fog comes in between them so thickly that you can barely see his silhouette, and when it passes again, she's gone. Whether her spirit has actually dissipated or moved somewhere else, he walks back towards you, and his boots are muddy, and he's wearing his long coat, and he says to you, "I lied to Ekon about what happened. I told him that I wasn't involved in the Orca's tooth. I know that he trusts you, and I know that if Milandu knew, he would throw you into the mud and cut off your hands. I need a good reason not to feed you to the dogs."
Well, you're gonna have to find it somewhere else, because it's not my job to give that to you. Y'all made your choice, and I didn't ask you to fucking lie for me. So if you have a problem with me, then say that we settle it right now. But I don't have a problem with you, so if you walk away, then this can be done. I say if you don't start one, there won't be one. I'm helping you find peace. I'm helping your sister find peace. And if you still have a problem with me, then we can fucking settle it right here. But you need to get the fuck out of my face. And don't you ever fucking threaten me again. And I'm gonna turn and walk away from him.
Yeah, he lets you stay on the sandbar. Yeah, I feel like there could be a command or a sway in there.
Yeah, I'll command.
Yeah, great.
And I'll push myself. I'll go ahead and take 2 stress.
Nice.
Since this is like a fucking swords master and I'm just like a punk ass hippie. I'm like talking shit. All right, 5.
Okay. Yeah. He remains very still through what you have to say, and you leave before he makes any specific response. You don't see him as you head back. So the consequence is that your reputation with the red sashes is reduced to -1. So they now don't like you. But
that'll be the next to fall.
If
that's what they want, if that's what they fucking want. These people came with it. They chose. They chose to come with us. Good God, are they going to blame us for everything?
No question, they chose.
Yes. No, absolutely. No, they totally did.
They got their revenge, right?
I rolled 111. It wasn't any of my fucking doing that they came around.
We got their revenge.
Yes.
we did.
Right, we did.
Yep. You totally
So that's okay. If the red sashes have beef over something stupid, then we'll talk about it if they want. Please, not another war.
Yeah. And
Okay, so
-1
anyway, my
-1 is
intention here is to reduce heat, actually, by
awesome.
getting this ghost to pipe down.
Yeah, I'm into that. Let's roll the roll on that.
I mean, I rolled
the
hunt
5.
to find the ghost, or command to
Chill him
get
out.
Ajani to get off my back.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think. Yeah, let's keep that then, and just take the. I think the 4 or 5 reduces 2 stress, 2 heat, on if you got a 5 on the thing. Let me see. Down to activities, reduce heat. 4 or 5 is 2. Yeah, so you reduce 2 heat.
Great.
So you're down from 6 to.
No, from 8 to 6. Yep.
Okay.
Still pretty spicy.
Yeah, I'd like to make my way to the harbor master. I would assume that there's some kind of record kept of the Orca's tooth as a vessel. I don't know if that's centralized, but at least I would like to find a ledger or record of it having existed, and if nothing else, destroy part of that record.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
Kind of want to like prowl my way in there. This will be another late night walk as he refuses to sleep. And I kind of like stroll up to whatever. I don't. Do you think that would be in an actual archive, or would the harbor master just have kind of a record room or ledger?
There would probably be. There are likely multiple records that exist of the Orca's tooth, I imagine. I feel like you would have the Leviathan Hunter's own record of it, which is connected to the ship, which you're probably not going to get. If you potentially could get to the right person, maybe. Then there's going to be a Dockmaster's one, which is going to be sort of the most public one, and then there might be a Blue Coat record of it if the Leviathan Hunters registered that it was stolen, which they may or may not have even done, and if the Blue Coats are referencing it, they're probably referencing the Harbor Master's one, and so getting rid of that might reduce the search for it.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of exactly what my intention is.
Amazing. Yeah, that's great.
So I'll prowl my way down there, break a window.
Yeah.
Try and slip in.
Yeah, love it. Yeah, let's see how that roll goes. Yeah. Is this also a reducing heats thing?
Yeah.
Great, cool. Yeah.
Okay, so it's a 3 to get inside.
Sure. Yeah. So you. All right. So you break a glass window, get your way in through the little doorway. You I guess 3 means you don't even get in. I think. So you get. So
or
this
that
is
like I get it at a cost that's worse than
yeah.
Then getting it, yeah.
Yeah.
trying to prevent.
Well, once again, I think this is sort of from a controlled position. So what controlled position means is that you get to basically realize that option is not going to work for you, and then do something else instead. So you basically like failing a controlled position roll doesn't have consequences. It just means you're not going to succeed that way. You have to do something else.
Okay,
So
there
that
are
basically
other
you can't
people
break that
around.
window. There are probably other entrances. You could probably climb up and attempt to get in through through a window on the roof, potentially.
Okay,
Which
I
could
look
either
around.
be wrecking and
I
breaking
see-
open a thing. Go ahead.
Yeah, I see too many people here. I don't want to leave evidence that I came in, so I'll change my mind and try to scale up to, to maybe there's like a window, like a gabled window
Yeah,
on the
I love
top,
it.
on the roof.
Yeah. Yeah, so you could either roll another prowl or you could roll a wreck to try and break the window open, which wrecking can be stealthy, or even a tinker if you want, but I don't know if
I don't have tinker, but I do have one in prowl and one in wreck. So,
Okay.
let me prowl again.
Okay.
I'm trying to do this without leaving a trail.
Yeah.
It's a 1.
Oh my gosh.
Ooh, off
So-
to the devil with that dice.
Yeah. So there are blue coats in the area who get the sense of who you wonder if, given the fact that there was this big like altercation out on the water recently, like maybe someone heard enough about it to be like, all right, let's make sure that nothing weird is happening with anything here. So basically, you are driven away from being able to do this task.
Yeah.
at all,
So
I guess in
I'll
this
throw
way?
up
Yeah.
my collar and just kind of
Yeah.
shuffle
Yep.
off.
Yeah, totally.
Okay.
But
Light a cigar.
of though the weird thing we keep doing though is that basically
Does it not
that I'm doing.
require a roll to reduce the heat?
no, it does, but if you roll a 1 through 3, you reduce 1.
Okay.
So it basically means that you've done a not as effective job at destroying it. So basically what probably would have happened the whole time is you got in, you got through to the back room, you found some of the records, you burned a couple pages of it, and then there were noises outside, you had to run. Basically a couple pages are gone, but a lot of it's still there. So you've reduced some of the heat because people aren't going to be looking for it. I think that's what narratively would have happened.
I think especially with this heat thing, given that the way this dice scale,
Yes.
I think it's helpful to think about it in terms of like achieving the heat at a cost.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? As opposed
Sure.
to like rolling 1 and being like, oh, that means none of it works. Being
Yes.
like, okay, what other complication means that when I reduce heat, it's not as effective as I want?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's
I like
helpful.
that. I like that. That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you did do the thing that you were trying to do, but in the process, someone saw someone causes trouble there. So it's
Right.
like, yes, the record is technically destroyed.
But they know that someone went in there and was
And,
stealing records,
destroyed
and
this record. Yeah.
Blue coats are
Yeah,
like
that's cool.
shouting at me, and I have to, like take off down an alleyway. There's a little bit of a chase, and I eventually make it back.
But you make it out fine. Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. I like that.
Didn't even get to beat up a homeless person. Jeez.
What kind of downtime action is this for Bram?
Gotta get that XP for combat
yeah.
violence.
Yes, exactly.
So we kind of congregate back. Brahms lighting up a cigar in the corner.
And I'm definitely you'll notice that the hideout looks pretty good, and Aldo looks pretty tired, and there is the beginnings of what looks to be an electric light system that is being built into the hideout. It is not finished, obviously, and Bram knows why, and so does Varric. Varric really knows why. And as we gather, I'll have pulled out like a bunch of ale, brewski.
Amazing.
And I'll kind of look to Varric like,
Cheers.
Yes.
yes, we've come a long way.
Yes. It's been quite a ride, but we've all made it. some a little worse for wear.
Yes. Shit. Okay. I need to. I think I owe some apologies.
Yeah, fucking right.
Okay. Yes, I do, especially to you, Bram. And Hix, what you said about digging up the past and everything. You are right, and it is not fair for me to do that. To push so hard on you, but I do feel it is important, you know why, if you can stomach that. For as the war was coming to an end, it was very important to do what I could to protect my family, and it was important to get them out, and none of them would go except for one, my niece, my sister's child, who I sent here to Dustfall, under the care of some military contacts, and with all the money that I could have mustered. And she wrote me and continued to write me, and her letter stopped until I heard nothing else from her. I made my way to Duskfall to investigate and could not find any evidence of what may have happened to her, and nothing, gone. And the blue coats, some useless in helping me. Last I heard of that, they said, check the gutters. You know what happens in Duskfall to little children that go missing. And I haven't thought about it. I'm sorry to bring this up. To now, it has not been something to. I don't know. We heard about these Arvus Klemnos and the people take advantage, and it reminded me of how what I could have done, what I didn't do. And Bram, when I heard these things about you, I needed to know. And it is not fair to bring up something like that when so clearly you asked me not to. And I am sorry for that. I am not. I don't know. Shit.
Hey.
If I may, so you've all been very welcoming and accepting of my lack of experience. And I sometimes wonder why you agree to have me here when I haven't necessarily contributed very much, and I feel that ought to change. So, Aldo, you're right that the blue coats aren't helpful but they're not helpful because of who they think you are. And I think that something I can do is give you a means to find out more and to use the advantages I have to help the people who matter, which in this case is you. And Bram, we already spoke, but I can help both of you open doors that might have been closed to you earlier.
Bram is kind of bristling at that suggestion, but is clearly listening.
We all have a responsibility to one another now, I think. We are quite literally wanted men at present. They may not know exactly who we are, but we've made an impact, and that means we have to trust one another, which hasn't necessarily been our strong suit. But I'd like to change that, if possible.
What are you offering, Varric? What are you bringing to the table? I follow everything that you're saying, and I agree with you. They're very nice words.
We're working. I like the work we've done. I've had a great time. I killed a man. It's quite exciting. And I find Deckard very amusing, and the short fuses are entertaining. But if we really want to do more, achieve more, I think we need to work with a higher quality of criminal, perhaps, that I can give us access to. I think it might be appropriate for us to level up, so to speak, and I'm suggesting that we begin to deal with somewhat more substantial players, which might help lead to progress in resolving anyone's unresolved issues.
So what does that look like? What are you saying? Speak plainly, please.
Well, when one speaks plainly, one has to...
Just say it. What are you saying? Do you have some sort of opportunity that you found for us? Do you have some sort of contacts that are not so lowborn that you would prefer to be working with? Is that what you're saying?
I have offered our services to members of the nobility. They don't know our names. They don't know your names.
Oh.
They know that I have a contact, and I feel that we could use this.
What services are we offering to the nobility? What services of ours have you offered to these rich people that you know? I would like to know explicitly what you said.
I said we transport things in and out of the city, and if anyone needs anything done, we can do it for them at a cost. We get fingers in pies. We get things owed to us. And we get to rub noses with the elite and actually make a difference. instead of wandering around spreading rumors about stupid politicians.
I mean, I'm interested in getting my fingers as deep into the pie of the rich as I can, in every single sense of that.
Oh,
But I am not interested in rubbing noses with them.
I mean, I feel like those are two in the same thing.
The nose is still too.
You haven't been in some of the bedrooms I have, Aldo.
That is very true, and I will most likely keep it that way.
I mean, I'm the thing, Varric, if this is a contact that you are cultivating, that we're going to bring them drugs, or we're going to bring them birds, or we're going to bring them fancy clothes, then I don't really give a shit. But I want to make it really clear that I'm not going to be doing any nobleman's dirty work. I'm not going to be covering anyone's ass. And I think that you should know that anything that I learn about a nobleman, I will try to use to hurt them to the best of my ability. You should know that.
Now
But-
Bram's grinning.
but if we're gonna punch up and we're gonna serve a clientele that actually has some money for once, I think you're talking some sense. I want to let you know that there is a line in the sand for me, and that I'm not trying to help these people continue to oppress people and to hurt people and to think that they're better than anybody. And maybe that's not good business sense, but
If you
I don't
want
give
to
a fuck.
burn anyone in those social circles, I will light the match for you. But I would ask, we do it after we fleece them for everything they've got.
well, now you're talking, Varric.
Plain talking. I see what you mean.
Varric, I must admit what you are saying here today feels like it's an ambitious move. You are going to need a bigger bird.
Well, that's the first thing we transport, is we got to get this motherfucker looking the job. Like, if you're going to be the one that we're sending to these parties with the wealthy, which I would love to attend with you, I'll just say from the outset, then yeah, we got to get you looking the part. I mean, Derek's cool. What's up, Derek? Haven't said hi to you yet.
His name is Merrick. That is not Derek. I don't know what
Derek?
you're talking about. No!
I just like wink at the bird.
The bird blinks.
It like blinks back, yeah.
No.
Very hard to come by. But I think it is a sound idea. We have made no money in several weeks.
Yeah.
We are I mean, just take a look around. Pretty worse for wear. It seems like there is a lot of opportunity to push ourselves to have more influence and control over the things that we want.
Well, and I have an idea about that as well. Things have been pretty shitty around Silkshore ever since we got preoccupied with that war, and it's obvious that our hold on the turf is weak. And I had originally thought that it would be better to keep Eloise and the Friends of Fairness away from Silkshore and just delay us showing her the town until we have a stronger hold, but I think there might be something to showing her what Silkshore is really like right now. And I think that we could potentially, to continue to aid them in their political conquest so long as it interests us, I think that there may be something said about getting sponsors among the class of person that is the Friends of Fairness. So it might be good to show them the sorts of things that we're dealing with and the sorts of assets that we have to leverage and the things that we could do if only we had some support in the form of money. So it might be a good time to bring them to Silkshore and show them what it's like on the other side, how the other half lives and really lives.
I mean, yeah, I'm eager and available.
To show them around. You are their tour guide.
No, I mean to do work for a higher clientele, make more money, get more connections, and then fuck them up the arse.
I would like that.
Yeah.
To come back to what you said, Hix, I would stand by you and saying that whatever you learn about somebody, using it to hurt them, I think that is very good.
Well, it seems pretty safe to say that the wealthy have not been very kind to any of us. Not even you, Varric. I see where you sleep these days.
Oh, I forgot. Oh, never mind. I'll tell you later. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay.
So, yeah, let's punch up. What else is there to do but punch upward? I don't really have anything else going on.
You look better. I said you look better.
Yeah, I feel a lot better.
Smell better.
Yeah.
I think the things that remain, the Orca's tooth in the room, what do we do with it? What do we...
Well, so Ted, is the Orca's tooth the sort of vessel that could make a trip to a foreign land and transport contraband?
It likely could go. It could probably go 100 miles on its own, which won't get you to the farthest places. The more suitable thing would probably be getting it off of, finding a way to skim it off of existing transport where it's coming in, or it would probably be mostly within close range of the city, along the coast, if you're going out of the realm of it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, that's the problem, is that we have the resources to be to be distributors, but not suppliers. And I don't like that. But I think that if we leverage our contacts well, then we can be the best distributors that there are, until we can get interests in some larger trading vessels and work some contacts and become suppliers. That seems sort of like the long-term plan, is that we build this thing to the point that we are in control of how much of what is entering the city, not just how it gets around. Like, I want to know, and maybe I'll make it my personal business to understand who the people moving the who are making the illegal thing, who are getting the illegal things onto the boats. That's what I'm interested in. So I'll probably make an issue of learning that for myself.
Well, I think we all agree. So, what's the first job?
Well, we got to get these weapons to the crows. Sorry, Varric. We got to keep slumming it up a little while longer.
Gathering dust over here.
Pascal is one of my favorite people I've met. I'm happy to continue working with him.
Yeah, me too.
Malevolent grin.
Jeez.
Like to see what he does with his knives.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Do we want to jump to that score a little bit, or I'm gonna abbreviate it. Essentially, it's not going to be run as a score, but go ahead.
Sure. I will say there was speaking.
I don't want to cut the conversation.
No. I was going to say, speaking of where Varric sleeps at night, or even Bram, I've as part of my long project of cleaning this place up a little. There is a cot in the workshop. You can sleep here.
Nice.
Took you long enough.
Great. Yeah, I don't want to cut this conversation short if there's more that needs to be discussed.
I don't think so. It doesn't. It sort of feels like we
sense of the future. Great. So I am going to a little bit take some reins here and give us a little bit of what happens in the next few months in Duskfall. So the job at the Taproot Tap goes pretty well. You are able to deliver the goods to the crows there, and when you get inside, you are accosted by several lamplights as you're fighting, as you're like making your way there. There's some drama as you try to get over the bridge as it's opening. Once you get inside the bar, you find that you were ambushed by Mumbler and his men, but you then and some of the crows are dead. But then a bunch of trap doors open up inside the Taproot Tap. Lissa and her people appear, and she attack. They then do sort of a counterattack. They essentially lured these lamplights into a trap. So they get you a thing. You get 6 coin. We'll give you 3 rep as well for that score. And we won't worry about heat since we're heading into it. We're heading into a long period.
The crows can take that heat. How about that?
Yeah, exactly. Yes, precisely.
That is 6 coin. We do not have room in our crew coin.
If you have 8 coin between the lot of you, you could make your turf strong again.
Well, we have full rep right now as a crew, and now there is 4 coin as a crew, and then 6 incoming coin.
Yeah. So if you empty
let's
your rep
spend 8 of
and
it to
spend the 8, yeah, boom. Your hold is.
I mean, that's sort of.
Let's do it.
Undoes my idea of impressing Eloise with how shitty it is around here, but it wasn't a very good plan anyway.
I mean,
straight up. I was like, I can polish this turd.
I mean, to be fair, I don't think Silk Shore is going to itself look any better now that we.
Yeah.
But
it's just that people won't like spit on us when we go places or whatever.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
Speak for yourself.
So we are now strong. We've spent all our rep, and we have 2 coin as a crew.
Yep. Nice.
Great.
That's a good place to start. The next little bit, I'm gonna tell you some ideas that I've said about the things that I imagine have happened in the following months in Duskfall. And if you guys have input and ways that you would like that to have changed, we can be pretty collaborative about this. If you're like, oh, what about these guys? This would be cool. Generally, I'm thinking to keep. Well, no, I'm just gonna say what I said, and then we'll talk about it. So. Duskfall's year is split into 6 months, each of which last about 6 to 7 weeks. So it's essentially like if months were twice as long, that's how they work in Duskfall. So we're going to say 2 months have passed. I'm not caring at all about the seasons. It's rainy England all the time. Maybe we'll make it winter one time. Who knows? But I want to briefly flow through the coming 2 months, tell you about the way the world progresses. Yeah, feel free to disagree and talk about it. The Crow Lampblack War ended about 4 weeks after your final delivery. The Crows, with the help of their newly recruited allies, the Grinders, which is the reason that the Grinders and the Billhooks had stopped fighting, is because the Crows had hired the entire gang to join them in the war. So they sort of offered this deal. They
Who is funding the Crows?
Yeah, amen.
Can't help but wonder. But go
Ooh,
on.
we gonna kill Pascal?
In a climactic struggle, Mumbler was captured inside a burning building and died of asphyxiation. The Crows took his body out, but over the next 2 days, the body began to look less and less like Mumbler until he became the form of a 16-year-old boy with red hair. No one knows if this is the same red-headed boy who Aldo patched up during session 2 of this season, and the same one who knifed Varric outside the warehouse. Mumbler's true body, if he ever had one, was never found. It is also possible that Mumbler was a 16-year-old boy. And it's also possible he's still alive and biding his time. The Crows once again took control of Crow's Foot in its entirety and Lissa celebrated intensely for a week with fireworks and all. Did the crew get involved in those celebrations at all, do you think?
Well, did she call us up?
She didn't. No.
Fucking bitch.
Yeah.
Seriously though, like, did we not have a hand in this?
Yeah, seriously. You had a huge
I think that she is unwise.
Yep. She absolutely
and
is.
I mean,
drawn the ire of Hix Templeton.
She's at
I mean,
with our crew.
You've drawn the ire of Hix Templeton. I will see you burn.
I mean, we knew she was an asshole.
Yeah, she sucks.
No question.
Yeah.
So actually over the next 4 weeks, things changed again. The Crows were growing in number, getting better equipped, but one day Lissa announced that they would no longer be called the Crows. They said that crows are the stupider bird and took on the name of the Ravens.
Oh, she is bad.
Yeah, they even claim that the district should have a new name, and so now there's a confused nomenclature where some people who are loyal to Lissa call it Raven's Foot and everybody else in the world calls it Crow's Foot. So you met with Pascal some weeks after the change. He looked exhausted. He told you he was managing Lissa's expansion, he's training new recruits, he's bending the small local gangs to their will. When you questioned him about Lissa's motives and feelings, he told you that the Ravens were extremely grateful for your help and that he was absolutely, he completely acknowledged that the war would not have been won without you. But he says that it might be best if Lissa saw less of you. After Hix's tense conversation at that dinner bringing up the murder of Rorick, and after seeing you rise victorious over the Fog Towns, he suggests that Lissa might not be as friendly as she once was, and that she might even perceive in her paranoia that you are a growing threat.
You have drawn the ire of all of us.
Yeah, I mean, she seems like she's reading the writing on the wall.
Yeah, damn right we're a growing threat.
Yeah, seeing it in advance, essentially. So that's sort of the Crows and the Ravens now sort of gathered in their own space and did their own stuff. The city continued in other ways, however. The Velvet Patchworks finished their citywide tour of their piece, The Lightning Wall, and are developing a new show. You've heard that they're rehearsing at a space in 6 Towers near the Stink Flume.
Yes,
hey,
near my house.
Great.
Near my house.
By my house.
It's right.
Over the next few weeks, Arisha Frost and the maimed Leviathan hunters worked nights to repair the Orca's tooth. They would sail the damaged vessel out into the East River off of 6 Towers, put it to anchor, and get to work. How much do all of you get involved? Who focuses on learning how to pilot the ship? I mean, you all can do it a little bit, but I'm curious, what's the level of involvement from recruitment?
I'm very, very interested in any of the basically bloody stuff, that kind of thing. The
Leviathan blood,
the Leviathan blood, any of the powering. Sorry, I was like, what is happening?
blood.
Sorry, just looking for something in my note, and then I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
Oh, so yeah, I'd be interested in all that if I can help prepare it at all. I'm going to keep learning.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
Bram's dad was a sniggler, so he probably has a little bit of an understanding of boats, but would be interested in upping the ante.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hold on, what's a sniggler again?
Sniggler's an eel hunter.
It's a
Cool.
a literal word.
Yeah, it is an actual word.
Cool.
Yeah.
My actual
Sniggler.
grandfather was a sniggler. Which is
No
still-
shit. Wow. How
Really?
cool.
It's pretty amazing. That's how I learned the word.
Not really by profession, but he used to hunt eels
He was
and
interested.
eat them.
That's so cool.
Wow.
He dabbled in sniggling.
He sniggled.
I've been
Hither
known
and
to
yon.
sniggle.
I've been known to sniggle.
Dabbling
Well, we've
sniggler.
all.
The,
Cool. Yeah,
the eel fucker name now seems even more.
yeah. It
Yeah.
suits us. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to be involved with that. Like, I have other shit going on in my
Oh,
life.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Great. So we'll
Having piloted the rough penny, Varric's interested in learning how to
yeah,
pilot.
absolutely. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I think
please.
I'll just note Aldo, Varric, and Bram all get a sense of it, and we'll see like how some projects do. Like I think basically, if any of you wanted to do like one 8-part worthy clock in the break here, we can. Basically, something that you wanted to develop or think about, and I can
Oh,
probably
cool.
give you the rewards of that in the meantime. The elections in Char Hollow are coming to a head in the next few months, and so like basically, we're going to be starting the game like 2 days before the election.
Cool.
When we come in. The triple
Boom
piss,
is doom, baby.
yeah, the triple piss has pivoted really hard and managed to scrounge up a candidate who looks like decent competition. And Clarissa Wren actually is not doing as well, and so it's now getting to the point where like it's this pretty equal race between these three groups, between the triple piss, the Robert Boom, who's like been weirdly doing well in all of these debates, and just like because of all this like enthusiastic sort of support from others who are sort of giving meaning to the general weirdness of what he says, he suddenly seems like this extremely rebellious candidate. With all
Boom
of
is
this.
doom is like our rallying cry, and somehow it's like people like it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, some
It's
people
like, well,
just-
yeah, oblivion is better than living in this shithole.
Exactly.
Let's all just get blown up.
Yeah, precisely. Eloise
Read
Emberson.
drunk.
Yeah, exactly. Eloise Emberson, Tyr Breyer, Porter Gray, and the Friends of Fairness continue to have some interest in you, and you get the sense that they're working actively on encouraging some of the unionization. The Railjacks also reach out to you at some point and mention that they've found 2 individuals who are running a Quicksilver lab and would be interested in potentially working with you on delivering it. So
Ooh,
you
baby.
have a supplier and a possible distributor in the Velvet Patchworks. If you could set up the line of you making sure that things get from place to place. Also, Bram, this is actually before all these 2 months happen, probably a few weeks after, maybe a week after the events that we've just all talked about here. You get a letter. The letter is unmarked, except for your name. The seal it's sealed with wax. It's beautiful parchment. It is like very well made. The seal is completely blank. The handwriting is extremely clean and deliberate, and it is brief. It says, "Mr. Borden, I wish your friends a swift recovery. Please avoid your own demise if possible. Ava."
What the hell? Come on now.
When Bram finds the letter,
Yeah.
maybe it was delivered to him previously and it got it shuffled in with his stuff. It's sitting on
Yeah.
a nightstand and he's in bed with Marlene.
Uh-huh. Love it.
And she's asleep. He opens it up, reads it, kind of and then very quickly kind of gets out of bed, dresses, and having suddenly momentum and nowhere to put it,
Mhm.
he just goes on a long stroll, and she doesn't see him for a few days.
Yeah. Mhm.
Ava.
Mhm.
Wow.
Aldo, at one point in the next few months, maybe you, maybe Varric, anyone who is interested, there's a really clear day and you climb one of the 6 towers of 6 towers, either for your own interest or taking a look at a possible route to smuggle something, your choice. But you climb up through this abandoned building, go up some ladders that are sort of falling apart, reach a couple different landings, and you look out at the city. You see Iron Hook Prison and the rocks of Dunslow where you did your first score. You see the warehouse in Crowsfoot where you fought the Lampblacks. You see the places where you met with the Friends of Fairness and the Short Fusers, and all of these places. You see Charter Hall University where Hix and Bram you studied. You see distantly across, hidden by distance, White Crown and the beautiful palace of the royal family. You see Brightstone. You see the glimmering of the rivers below you, and all of it connected, beating like a heart with just the pulse of the tides coming in and out. And this city could be yours. Season 1 ends. Season 0 ends.
Yeah, season 0.
Yeah.